One of the most powerful things you'll ever learn is this: you don't have to react to every situation. Every insult doesn't require a response. Every accusation doesn't require explanation. Every disrespectful comment doesn't deserve your energy. Every person who misunderstands you doesn't need to be corrected. And every invitation to an argument doesn't require you to attend. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing. Sometimes the strongest move you can make is to walk away. Because the moment somebody can control your emotions, they control or they influence your behavior. They know what button to push. They know what subject to bring up. They know exactly what to say to make you angry. And before you know it, you're saying things you don't mean, doing things you'll regret, and giving somebody else control over your peace. But what happens when the button doesn't work anymore? What happens when they expect the old reaction and you give them the new response? What happens when you finally understand I don't have to participate in everything that tries to disturb me? That's what we're talking about today: the power of not reacting. Welcome to the Daily Uplift Official for encouragement you can count on. If you're new here, this is where we talk about faith, life, healing, wisdom, relationships, personal growth, and becoming a healthier and stronger version of yourself. Subscribe to the channel, share this video with someone who needs it, and stay with me, because learning when not to react can save you from arguments, broken relationships, damaged reputations, bad decisions, and regrets that can last much longer than the emotion that created them. Let's get into it. Your first reaction isn't always your best response. Have you ever said something when you were angry and 5 minutes later thought, I shouldn't have said that? We all have moments or have had moments like that. The emotion came first, the wisdom came later, and that's the problem. Sometimes the space between what happened to you and what you do next is only a few seconds. But those few seconds can change everything. Somebody says something disrespectful, immediately you want to respond. Somebody sends you an offensive text, your fingers start moving. Somebody posts something about you online, you start writing a paragraph. Somebody raises their voice, you raise yours higher. And now the situation isn't just about what they did, it's also about what you did in response. That's why maturity isn't simple controlling what happens around you. Most of the time, you can't. Maturity is learning to control what happens within you. When something happens around you, you can't control somebody else's mouth, but you can't control yours. You can't control somebody else's attitude, but you can decide whether you're going to allow their attitude to become yours. And sometimes the best response is, I'm not responding to this right now. That's power. Some people are looking for your reaction. This is important. Not everybody who provokes you wants a resolution. Some people want a reaction. They want to see you angry. They want to see you lose control. They want you to say something that they can use against you later. They poke, they push, they insult, they make little comments. Then when you finally explode, they point at you and say, see, look at how they act. And suddenly nobody remembers the 100 things they did before you reacted. Everybody remembers your explosion. That's why you have to stop giving people unlimited access to your emotional controls. If somebody can make you lose control simply by saying the right sentence, they have too much influence over you. You need to reach a place where they say the thing that used to trigger you, and you think that doesn't deserve a response. Not because you're weak, but because you're disciplined. Silence isn't always weakness. We have confused being loud with being strong. We think if I don't respond, they're going to think I'm scared. If I walk away, they're going to think they won. If I don't defend myself, people might believe them. Listen, you don't have to win every argument. Sometimes the argument isn't, or the argument itself is beneath you. There are people who will never understand your side because they have already decided what they want to believe. You could explain yourself for 3 hours. They still wouldn't understand. You could bring evidence, screenshots, witnesses, receipts. They still wouldn't care because they aren't looking for truth. They're looking for victory. So why exhaust yourself? Sometimes you have to say, you can believe whatever you need to believe and keep it moving. There is a tremendous freedom in no longer needing everybody to understand you. Not reacting doesn't mean not having boundaries. Now, I want to make an important distinction. Not reacting doesn't mean tolerating everything. It doesn't mean allowing somebody to mistreat you. It doesn't even mean remaining silent about abuse, harassment, threats, dangerous behavior, or serious wrongdoing. Sometimes action is necessary. Sometimes you have to speak. Sometimes you need to document what happened. Sometimes you need to get help. Sometimes you need to leave. Sometimes you need to set a firm boundary. The difference is this: a reaction is impulsive, a response is intentional. That's what we're learning. Instead of allowing emotions to make the decision, you give yourself enough space for wisdom to enter the room. You can say, I will address this, but I'm not addressing this while I'm angry. That's maturity. The 24-hour rule, here's something practical. When you're extremely emotional, don't make permanent decisions. Don't quit your job in the middle of an argument. Don't end a valuable relationship because one heated conversation. Don't post something online you'll have to delete tomorrow. Don't send a text you wish you could retrieve. Don't make major decisions while you're furious. Give yourself time. Go for a walk. Pray. Sleep on it. Write down what you're feeling without sending it to anybody. Talk to someone wise. Ask yourself, what outcome do I actually want? That's a powerful question because sometimes the response you're about to give will produce the exact opposite of what you want. You want peace, but you're about to create another argument. You want reconciliation, but you're about to say something devastating. You want respect, but you're about to behave in a way you won't respect tomorrow. Slow down. The situation may still need to be addressed, but it doesn't necessarily have to be addressed right now. Social media has made reacting too easy. This is especially important today. People can provoke you from hundreds of miles away. Somebody can leave, or somebody leaves a comment, somebody posts an opinion, somebody says something you would disagree with, and suddenly you're angry at a person you've never met. Think about that. Somebody who doesn't know you exist now has control over your mood. You were having a perfectly good morning. Coffee was good, weather was good, everything was fine. Then you read one comment. Now you're angry for 2 hours. Why? Because you gave a stranger access to your peace. Not everything on the internet requires your opinion. You can scroll right past it. You can close the app. You can block. You can mute. You can keep living. Protecting your attention is part of protecting your peace. Stop explaining yourself to everybody. Another form of reacting is constantly explaining yourself. Somebody misunderstands your decision, you write a paragraph. Somebody questions your boundary, you give a speech. Somebody doesn't approve of your life, you start presenting evidence. Why? There comes a point where you have to become comfortable saying, this is the decision I've made, period. You don't need unanimous approval to live your life. You can listen to wise counsel. You should be open to correction, but you don't need to turn every personal decision into a courtroom case. Sometimes over explaining is an attempt to get permission from people you don't have the authority to give it, or to get permission from people who don't have authority to give it. The real power is self control. Here's where faith comes into the conversation. Proverbs repeatedly emphasizes the importance of controlling our words and temper, because strength isn't just what you can do to somebody else. Strength is what you can stop yourself from doing when everything inside you wants to react. Anybody can explode. Anybody can yell. Anybody can send the angry message. Anybody can insult somebody back. But it takes discipline to say, I'm angry, but I'm not going to let the anger make this decision. That's strength. Self control doesn't mean you don't feel anything. You feel it. You simply refuse to let every emotion become an instruction. That's important. That's an important distinction. You can feel angry without becoming destructive. You can feel offended without uh, retaliation. You can feel disappointed without becoming bitter. You can feel hurt without hurting somebody else. Your feelings are real, but they don't have to become your boss. Watch what happens when you change. Here's what's interesting. When you stop reacting, some people won't like it because they were accustomed to having access to that version of you. They knew exactly how to get you going. They knew exactly how to make you argue. They knew how to pull you into drama. Then one day they try the same thing and you don't move. They send a paragraph, you don't write back. They make a comment and you keep walking. They try to start an argument and you say, I'm not having this conversation like this. Now they're confused because the old strategy stopped working. That's growth. When somebody has to meet a different version of you because the old version is no longer exists, that's growth. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Before you react, start asking yourself, is this worth my peace? Is this comment worth ruining my afternoon? Is this argument worth damaging this relationship? Is this stranger worth my energy? Is proving I'm right worth losing my composure? Will this matter next week, next month, next year? Sometime the answer will be yes. Some things need to be addressed, but you'll be surprised how often the answer is no. And when the answer is no, release it. Not every battle is yours. Not every accusation deserves a defense. Not every opinion requires a rebuttal. Not every misunderstanding needs clarity. Not every disrespect deserves retaliation. Some things deserve nothing more than your absence. Here's what I want you to remember. Your peace becomes powerful when it stops being easy to steal. When you stop allowing everybody's words to control your emotions, you become different. You think before speaking, you pause before responding, you choose your battles, you stop chasing misunderstandings, you stop trying to prove yourself, you stop giving strangers authority over your mood, and you realize I get to decide what deserves my energy. Somebody may disrespect you. You don't have to become disrespectful. Somebody may lie about you. You don't have to become dishonest. Somebody may lose control. You don't have to join them. Somebody may invite you into chaos. You can decline the invitation. That's the power of not reacting. It's not weakness. It's not fear. It's not avoidance. It's the ability to say, I refuse to let your behavior determine mine. And once you learn that, people lose one of the greatest powers they ever had over you, the ability to control you through your emotions. If this message spoke to you today, share it with somebody who needs to learn that every battle doesn't require a response. And in the comments, write, my peace is more important than my reaction. If you haven't already, subscribe and become a part of the community. This is the Daily Uplift Official. For encouragement you can count on. Remember, protect your peace, control your response, choose your battles, and never give somebody else control over the person you're becoming. Keep your faith, keep your faith, keep growing, keep your composure, and always keep uplifting. And I'll see you in the next video.